it's me again. Today's date is March 2nd, 2025. It is a Sunday. And just over the past 9 or so days, we have received not one, but two Next Bridge PRs. Both start out the press release with a negative sentiment. In order to break up the monotony, different connotations were used, such as disappointing and troubled. Today, let's examine some of those press releases. On Friday, February 21st, 2025, Next Bridge released an update to their S1 stating where has it been? The last S1 filing we've seen was in August of 2024. It's been over 6 months since we've seen any update to the S1. What's been going on? Next Bridge came out with a press release stating that, well, the SEC has come back with several comments. These comments sort of backtrack on what the SEC said earlier, because now the SEC wants to see financials with the changed value of the Oro Grande since 2022, which is quite unusual, in my opinion. As during the year of 2022, Next Bridge was under the purview of Metamaterials. Oilco, which was a wholly owned subsidiary of Metamaterials at the time. SEC doesn't think so, and in this PR, it states that Metamaterials merely acted as a custodian of identical assets with identical shareholders during this 18-month interim. So not only has the SEC now stated that the whole year of 2022's financial filings must be redone, but in addition, all the financials for year 2023, 2024 must also be done as well. That's essentially 3 years of redoing all the financial calculations up until about the point where Next Bridge lost the lease at the Oro Grande. As we know, when a oil and gas company has an asset which is not commercially producing, it has $0 book value. I'm not sure what stance the SEC is taking. If Next Bridge has reflected $0 book value, I think we need a little bit more clarity on that. But I agree with Next Bridge if they have to resubmit filings for 2022, 2023, 2024, in addition to the 2025 filings coming up. That's a lot of filings. How long is that going to take? We saw how long it took just to get the filings when they switched accountants, right? And then the SEC had questions about that. And now the SEC says, oh, go back and redo all this stuff now, but assign this value to the Oro Grande. We were witness last year to how long it took to redo the filings for the year of 2023 once they switched accountants. Now imagine Next Bridge having to redo the filings from 2022, 2023, and 2024, 3 times the amount of filings, and current filings as well, because the SEC has decided to do the old switcheroo. It's very frustrating. I think frustrating is an understatement at this point with what has all happened in the past several years. The consequences of these SEC comments could potentially cost the company, Next Bridge Hydrocarbons, a lot of money, as stated in the press release. Next Bridge is stating that the company is unwilling to take a position it believes is unknowingly and demonstrably false, as well as fraught with potential liability for the company and its shareholders. The company is exploring its options related to this impasse and will work closely with advisors to explore its options. I wonder what options that the company is taking, because back in early 2024, over a year ago, they stated that they were working with Johnny Tobacco. Is the company still working with Johnny Tobacco? That's what I want to know. And is blockchain still a viable option? Or was it not an option? Is it still on the table? Is it not on the table? As it's been some time since we've seen any update on that. The Next Bridge stated in this PR that settling the shares, in addition to an update on the Louisiana Heritage play, have been suspended until further clarity of the SEC requirements and the impact of the SEC's new requirements are further explained. This, unfortunately, will cause delays providing unencumbered shares to firms who privately requested them. For this, I say see the letter from Greg McCabe to the SEC stating that he's had offers for multiples above $2.65 million from one particular institution requesting shares. As a result, the shares needed to settle the trades as a result of FINRA's U3 halt are still on hold. Of course, I think that also relates to the S1 offering for the 40 million shares, as those shares could be purchased. That was update 1, which happened on February 21st. Now for update 2. So I have some new birds, I have some new friends, and it seems like speaking with this bird hat on, every time I speak, he squawks. The second press release that happened this week came on February 27th, in which Next Bridge Hydrocarbons announced that its subsidiary has been operating, which was in charge of running the Oro Grande in Hudspeth County, Texas, received a notice from its bank, JP Morgan Chase, saying that JP Morgan is closing the commercial banking account because of the connection to a publicly reported financial investigation. NextBridge believes that this act, known as debanking, is a fundamental misuse of otherwise necessary fiduciary oversight. It is interesting to see that NextBridge chose to update us, the shareholders, in this matter. It seems like we have a lot of different types of entities that are against NextBridge as a whole. We have the whole SEC matter against the S1. We have the loss of the University Land Systems lease for the Oro Grande. And now we have this JP Morgan fiasco. JP Morgan says, well, we don't want you to have an account with us. There's a potential investigation going on, so we don't want that. Goodbye. That's a lot against us, but there is some good news, I guess. One piece of good news that has come out this past week from NextBridge, and that came on February 18th, so almost 2 weeks ago. The company announced that it engaged the services of the Houston-based law firm Christian Attar, and with Wes Christian, of course. Wes Christian, who we talked about last year, who's working with Metamaterials to investigate the Metamaterials Torchlight reverse takeover, in which they stated the preliminary results. There was significant spoofing that happened during this reverse takeover. Since then, the preferred A share became tradable as MMTLP. And as stated in prior press releases, the company has become aware of shareholder ledger imbalances at several brokerage firms, totaling amounts exceeding the aggregate 2.65 million shares reported by FINRA. NextBridge wishes to reiterate that after more than 2 years, they have yet to still uncover the full magnitude of these imbalances. Wes Christian was hired to explore and investigate any and all potential claims related to harassment, business disparagement, libel, slander, tortious interference, conspiracy, obstruction of justice violations of the Administrative Procedures Act. So it looks like Wes Christian is going to investigate multiple aspects of what's been happening to NextBridge, be it on social media, or perhaps how and why the SEC has decided to do the old switcheroo, change their mind on previous financial statements that NextBridge Hydrocarbons had put out a few years ago. More than a year ago at this point, more than 2 years ago at this point, as we are now ending the first quarter of 2025. So if things has to go back to the first quarter of 2022, 3 years ago. What will Wes Christian find? And will he find more evidence of share spoofing or market manipulation with MMTLP itself? Or is this just finding things in which the SEC or social media has said or done to hinder the progress of NextBridge Hydrocarbons as a company? In the past 2 weeks, we've had 3 updates from NextBridge. 2 have been negative, one's been positive. with the hiring of Wes Christian. I wonder when the next PRs from Next Bridge will come out. In the meantime, there has been updates to the SEC John Berta case. I wanted to talk about it from a next video, but then these Next Bridge PRs happened, and then additional updates to the John Berta Palacaris versus the SEC case have come out. And I'd like to talk about that probably next video. I'm also looking forward to updates on the NAPE. Granted, Next Bridge Hydrocarbons wasn't there, but Greg McCabe and McCabe Petroleum was there at the NAPE Expo this year. Fish tank update. My fish tank is doing well. My current fish, I fed him this morning. He's doing great. I'm not sure where he went to. He's in here somewhere, but he's doing great. I need to trim this back again. Seems this is going great guns. I just have to trim it once in a while. I had to take off my bird hat because my budgies were not happy with me wearing my bird hat. He had quite the opinion of that. That's it for today. Again, I'll try to talk about the John Berta Palacaris SEC case in the next video. That's tentative as things seem to change. I seem to be working on one video and all of a sudden new updates happen and then something else happens over here. And I sort of have to go back and forth. Which one do I want to cover until I get further updates? Okay, guys, that's it for today. I will see you soon. Goodbye.